Hi, everybody. This is lesson 7, truly, of Philippians, and we are still in chapter 1. Verse 12, it says, I want you to know, brothers, that what has happened to me, and remember Paul is speaking right now, has really served to advance the gospel. So that it has become known throughout the whole guard and to all the rest that my imprisonment is for Christ. And most of the brothers, having become confident in the Lord by my imprisonment, and much more bold to speak the word without fear. I had mentioned this verse briefly last time, but I want us to reinstate actually that no matter what is, it's always for God's advancement, not for us. It's to fulfill the gospel every moment of our life. So we can do, if we will come to that and believe that, what it says in verse 14. And most of my brothers, having become confident in the Lord, that we can have a confidence in the Lord. If we really believe our life is to serve God, whether you are a Christian or a non-Christian, you're still serving the Lord. God will use that. That is why it's very, very important that we come to that over and over again in our life. Verse 15, some indeed preach Christ from envy, but others from goodwill. The latter do it out of love, knowing that I am put here for the defense of the gospel. The former proclaim Christ out of selfish ambition, not sincerely, but thinking to afflict me in my imprisonment. What then? Only that in every way, whether in pretense or in truth, Christ is proclaimed, and that I rejoice. What a depth of teaching that is. Some wanted to be better than Paul. And so they were ambitious, they were jealous of him, and happy that Paul was where he was. That finally Paul was going to be brought down. There might be people in your life that might feel that way about you at times, or you may have felt that way about others at times. Some were very competitive and very happy that Paul was hurting at that time. Selfish ambition. They served, but not sincerely. Wanting to be the best for God, of course, is not bad. It's not bad to be ambitious, to want to be the best that God has called you to be successful. But it's wrong. It's because of your own selfish ambition to be better than other people. Remember what I've said often. God does not make stars. He makes saints. That fact that there are people who want to be stars and are preaching the gospel. Some want Paul to think they were better. Not knowing that Paul really didn't care. Paul really didn't care if they were better than him and probably wanted them to be better than him. I want people to be a better preacher than I am, a better teacher, a better counselor. And if of anything, that's probably my ministry, is to mentor people, to help them be better than I am. Paul's attitude was, I don't care what your motives are, but preach the true gospel. And there are times, I think, that we have to stop criticizing other people, analyzing other people, wondering what their motives might be if they're preaching the gospel. If your motives are bad, God will deal with you. But at least the gospel is being preached. So he is saying, I don't care how good your motives are. If you're preaching a false gospel, he says, though, you're dangerous. You could have very good motives, very unselfish attitude, but if your preaching is wrong, it's wrong and it's dangerous. Good motives do not excuse false teaching. And it speaks of that, and you can look that up yourself. Galatians chapter 1, verses 6 through 9. So motives, as far as we are concerned, as far as as we're looking at the world and other people, we're to look at what is being taught and if it's truth. Let's go to verses 19 through 20 and see what that has to say. Yes, I will rejoice, for I know that through your prayers and the help of the Spirit of Jesus Christ, this will turn out for my deliverance, as it is eager expectation and hope that I will not be all ashamed, but that with full courage now, as always, Christ will be honored in my body, whether by life or by death. For to me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. If I am to live in the flesh, that means fruitful labor for me. Yet which I shall choose, I cannot tell. I am hard pressed between the two. My desire is to depart and be with Christ, for that is far better. But to remain in the flesh is more necessary on your account. Powerful teaching, a powerful way of a Christian to live their life, a relaxing way for us to live the life that we're called to live, full of peace. Paul trusted that Christ might decide that he would be more glorified. Christ would be more glorified by Paul's death. Then that would be okay. Paul lived, though, to glorify Christ. We often think that we will be delivered from our problems, but we might be delivered in the middle of them. We want the problems to go away. Paul might be able to not be a prisoner anymore. He could just die in the middle of it. You might be able to die in the middle of your problems, wanting God to suddenly take it away. Either way, do you understand? It's okay. We often dictate to God how he can be glorified in our lives. God will say, let me tell you how I think you can be glorified. Here I am, small Janette, telling the big God how he can be glorified in my life and how he cannot be. But do you know what Paul did? Because he had no fear of death, he left it all up to God. We have to begin to be able to hand that right over to the one who's in charge. And if you've read Psalm 139, you will know that God is in charge of the day whether we will die or not. So give it up, and you'll have a lot less worry. Thank you for listening today. You have a good day. Bye-bye.